Another interesting news with some female politicians. Barbara Boxer, for the first time in her career, is trailing both of the Republican candidates. Tom Campbell, they're 44 to 43, and the other Republican female, actually, Carly Fiorina, they're 55 and 44 compared to Boxer. So that's within the 3.7 margin of error. So that's pretty historic for California to be losing Barbara Boxer. Likewise, an interesting thing happened this past week. Pelosi called for a special meeting with female Democrats, and the topic was to be determined. That just kind of rubs me the wrong way. I don't understand why they would feel the need to only meet with the female Democrats. On to some healthcare reform news. I think today it's about 17 Democrats against. Interestingly enough, there's 2 of them just in the past week who have flip-flopped. Well, 3 if you count Dennis Kucinich. One of them was, I can't think of his name. He's in the Congressional Black Caucus. He was a yes, now he's a no. Gutierrez was a yes, then a no, now a yes. And of course you have Dennis Kucinich, who was a no, and is now suddenly a yes. Hey, Brian O'Neill, you've heard of Man Cow?
Sure, the announcer.
Yeah. He said that Dennis Kucinich agreed to the health care plan because Obama told him that he could promise that Pooh and Winnie and Tigger would live in peace. So a little slam on Dennis Kucinich's mental stability there. But Dennis wants the public option. He's always wanted that, and I think they've convinced him that he's going to get it. So basically we have a bunch of bribery and coercion going on. I don't know how you can disagree with something so strongly, something of this magnitude, and then all of a sudden agree with it. Obviously, the administration and Pelosi and Reid are kind of just swooping down onto these guys and saying, what can we do for you? So that's basically what's going on here. Unfortunately, we don't have a congressman currently that anyone can bribe, and that's a whole other issue. There are organizations. Brian O'Neill is laughing. We don't have a congressman right now. There's nobody that they can swoop down on and say, what do you want, Eric, or what do you want, Tom, or whoever you are, and say, what do you want from us?
Well, it sounds like you're encouraging bribery for a second.
Oh, absolutely not. But apparently, all across the country, there's lawsuits already waiting in the wings if health care passes. You've got the Legal Defense Fund, that's Mark Levin's group, and they're basically saying, landmarklegal.org. They've basically got a lawsuit already that if they use that so-called slaughter rule, the deemed passed, they're going to sue. You've got about 17 states who have already passed legislation saying, invoking their 10th Amendment rights, saying we are not going to take part in this. You cannot force us to take part in this. And then likewise, like I said, here in the 29th district, my husband was telling me this, we don't even have any representation. So if we're forced to pay a fee or a tax or forced to get into this program, isn't that taxation without representation? So it's a big, giant mess. You're listening to the Amy McManus Show on AM 1480 WLEA.
AM 1480 WLEA.
Welcome back to the Amy McManus Show on AM 1480 WLEA. Once again, you can listen to the show live now on Saturday mornings. Go to www.wlea.net, click on broadcasts. More on this healthcare reform. Another legal issue that's going on currently. Walgreens down in, Walgreens in, I don't even have it on here. Walgreens stores, a huge region of Walgreens stores, have already said that as of April 15th, they can no longer take Medicaid patients, saying that filling those prescriptions is a money-losing proposition. They have 121 stores in that state. I apologize, I don't have the state here in my notes, and have said that they're just no longer going to take Medicaid patients. So it's just another example of, I think, what's to come. Whether it's Walmart or Rite Aid or these other big chains, that if this passes, it's going to add a whole other burden onto these drug providers and pharmacies, whereas they're just not going to be able to participate. Also out of Washington, the supposed Medicare fix that Democrats think is in the healthcare bill. The CBO says it's going to push Medicare into the red, as many conservatives have been saying, but we're called liars, or they say we're crazy. It's going to cost $208 billion over 10 years with these cuts in the fees to doctors. So that's what they're going to do, again, is punish the doctors and cut back their fees for providing services to Medicare patients. Republicans say that this should not be ignored. This is a huge number. So again, it's just who else is going to be hurt now, as we know, the doctors. So these doctors are going to get cuts in Medicare, probably Medicaid. So again, they're just not going to be able to take on these patients. They're going to just start closing their door and saying, sorry, we can't take you as a patient. Other interesting news in the past few weeks as the whole healthcare debate heated up, congressional officials sent out an email warning senators and other reps and their staff to avoid the Drudge Report. The Senate's Committee on Environment and Public Works issued the urgent email claiming that the Drudge Report is responsible for many viruses that were popping out throughout the Senate's internet system. And they ordered staff, quote, try to avoid the Drudge Report for now as best as you are able. However, Drudge reported that in that week, he served 29 million pages, actually it was just one day, 29 million pages when they released this email, with not one email complaint about any viruses or pop-ups or spyware or any such thing. So very interesting that our government is now trying to discourage their own workers, our representatives, to avoid the Drudge Report. I can't imagine why. Now on to more of the health care reform regarding Stupak and the whole abortion question. He has been in the forefront of voting against the bill due to the abortion language. There's a bunch of them that have joined him strictly regarding the abortion language, and another group of Dems who are simply against it because of the cost. And then again, there's a few others who just know that their constituents do not want it. I love to hear when people say, you know, when you're on blogs or different articles you're reading where someone says, this is not going to cover abortion. And when you ask them, how do you know that? They say, well, because Obama says it won't, or because Pelosi says it won't, without backing it with any facts. The National Right to Life Committee, as well as Planned Parenthood itself, Family Research Council, on all different sides of this issue, they're all agreeing that abortions will be covered with this bill, because you cannot, there is no way to separate the funds. They're claiming they're going to separate funds. There is no way to separate funds. If abortion coverage is offered through private insurance, and they're getting subsidies, and individuals are getting subsidies to pay their premiums, there's no way to separate that money. That is once it is in the public sector, it is public money. It is federal money. There's really no way to separate it. So you have Stupak out there in the front with, again, these 16, 17 Democrats saying no. In the end, I don't think, I've said that before, I don't think the abortion issue is going to make much difference as long as you have Democrats who are willing to be given gifts, et cetera. I know in Connecticut, I guess they've been up in a district in Connecticut, one of the congresspersons was offered a couple $100 million for a hospital to be built there. So he's now on the fence now. He was a no, but now he might say yes. Likewise, in Florida, they were guaranteed some sort of Medicare because of the amount of Floridians who are senior citizens. They were offered some kind of Medicare deal where they would not be forced to get into that system where there were cuts made and everything else. So basically, we'll just have to see which of our representatives just have the backbone to just stand up on principle rather than just being bought out. So it'll be a very interesting weekend. I know there's a lot of people in Washington today. Been watching that on the news. And speaking of protests, I am, with some others, arranging another tea party on April 15th. So if you'd like some information about that, you can email me, amymcmanus@canistooValleyNews.com. You've been listening to the Amy McManus Show on AM 1480 WLEA. Coming up next, Brian O'Neill with Connections.